What's up, everyone? Today, I'd like to share one of the most significant pieces of wisdom that has come to me along my path within music. And that is, luck is at the crossroads of opportunity and preparation. This brings me back to yesterday, the philosophy I shared about the 4 square method. And this actually comes from another avenue of insights and wisdom. See, at any given point in time, you're operating in one of 4 squares. You're either unprepared and nothing happens, you're unprepared and something happens, or you're prepared and nothing happens. And the last square is you're prepared and and something happens. So out of those 4 squares, which one's the wisest to operate in? See, we want to be prepared, not just in music, but in life as a whole. And again, I hope some of these words tonight inspire you to persevere through some of the challenges that your path may have. And perhaps you're already gone through a lot. Maybe these words will help, in reflection, heal some wounds that are still festering from stories that didn't go the way we wanted them to, so to speak. So, I'd like to take a moment to just talk about luck again, because it can be seen as very woo-woo, very fantasy-orientated. But luck can be seen from a shamanic point of view as well. See, if a shamanic tribe in the Amazon goes out on a hunting expedition to get food for the whole tribe, over years and years of practice, they will develop patterns and recognize patterns within the forest. They'll see exactly what time of day this animal goes to drink and this animal goes to feed. So is it luck, or is it, again, another perspective that allows them to see when that opportunity comes to them to fulfill what it is that they seek to create or gather, or in this case, hunt? But that leads me to the next topic for today. Because every time we go hunting, sometimes we may fail. As we put projects together, they may not go the way we want them to go. And failure can be very difficult, especially when we're working on our dreams for some of us. So again, I hope these words help some of you. Even though you're prepared, at times you may fall short. Something may happen with your record label, something may happen with your partner, your family member, some life situation, and again, you may get deterred. But I'd like to encourage you to not give up. Sometimes we're being redirected and we don't recognize it. See, failure is going to be one of the biggest obstacles. It's really hard when we go through those experiences and those challenges to stay grounded and focused on the larger picture and trust that even though things aren't going the way we want right now, that something is happening that is guiding us towards something bigger and better. Most of us, what I've noticed on this path and touring and working with others, is a lot of people that are very, very talented give up right at the last step. It's as though all their knowledge and wisdom is put to a certain test, and they get a little disillusioned sometimes, and I can share how that happened for me. Back in 2008, 2009, I was living in New Orleans, and I was producing electronic music. I had been working on music for about 3-4 years, and had gotten to a point where I had a fully produced electronic music album, had produced a live mix of it, and I had a few releases with a record label down in Miami called Shiva Records, run by Funky Junction, also known as Constantino Padovano. And we had some good releases, music was going great. I put the album together, I had a few contracts to run through because there were a couple remixes within the project. And one of the remixes was actually for my dream record label at the time, known as Marine Parade, run by Adam Freeland out of England. I spent months working back and forth on what the contract would be, how the agreement would go through. Finally got it all finalized with Marine Parade, presented it to my label in Miami, submitted the mix, and then waited about 2 weeks and didn't hear anything back. And so I reached out and inquired exactly what was going on. And Constantino invited me down to Miami. I drove down to Miami, We have a meeting, he sits me down and just explains to me how the label's doing and that he's going to shut down the record label. And I don't know what to say. Like, I had a couple remixes alongside some of the founding fathers of electronic music, including Kyoki and Rabbit in the Moon. As I just said, I had put all this together with my dream record label to work with, and to watch my dream basically fall apart right in front of me was very difficult, and I didn't know what to make of it and how to move through that at the time. I got very disillusioned. It took me several years to find myself inspired by music again. Electronic music was starting to get very different at the time. Dubstep was starting to take over, and while I appreciate bass music, I like to write music, and that's two different worlds in my opinion. And so what I did was I started to pick up the guitar, I started to write songs, and I really started to focus on my musicianship. I felt if this had happened, then I was going to start to expand my horizons and learn other things within the world of music, and writing songs specifically and singing at the same time and playing guitar was very, very challenging and very difficult. And I still have a little bit of difficulty with it today, to be honest, but I'm able to actually articulate my ideas with other artists and able to execute these now due to this very challenging time in my life. So in hindsight, what I would say now is that if I had released that album, most likely I would still be on tour putting out music of the same vibration that you see out there a lot in the world right now. And again, it can sound as though it's judgmental in my tone, but it's over the years when you begin to really develop your musicianship, working with high degree artists on a Grammy level, and really start to do these practices with yoga, meditation, and breathwork, you start to realize that you are encoding everything that you create. And so what type of vibration or music are you actually putting into the world? The way it's been shared with me is there's 3 vibrations we really want to work with. We want to inspire, uplift, and bring home. So however that translates for you, that's where I got to through this very deep, challenging time for myself. And I hope that if you're going through something like that, it can inspire you to just begin to look to other avenues and just continue to grow and expand your horizons. Again, staying true to your heart and being authentic within music, it can be very difficult. There are definitely gatekeepers, and you will be given certain opportunities in which you may or may not want to stick to certain morals, and some of you will have no problem with that. For some of us, authenticity is really important. And so I do still have that. If you're interested in hearing the album that never got released, I'll put a link down below and you can check out that mix. Again, it's a private link, it's not out there in the world anywhere. But yeah, to conclude, went on a little rant there. What I'd like to ask you today is, what square are you actually operating in right now? If that really big gig came, that national gig, that international gig that you've been dreaming of and preparing for years, are you prepared? Do you have a 2-hour set ready? Have you been practicing your musicianship? Are you ready to play with the big band? So just take some time, reflect, see where you're at, start to practice a little bit more perhaps, and on the path ahead, just do your best to remember this little bit of wisdom. Luck is at the crossroads of opportunity and preparation. Take care.